The leader of Mandem FC, Noni Madueke himself. Currently, right now, he's agreed his own personal terms with Arsenal. Personal terms such as contract, bonuses, all that stuff. But Chelsea and Arsenal, they haven't formulated their transfer offer. And in this video, I'm going to talk if Arsenal should sign Madueke. Is he worth it? And what benefit would it have for Arsenal? And should Chelsea let go of his players? What would the consequences, what are the repercussions, what would happen if Chelsea let go of Madueke? And before I start, could you like, comment, share, subscribe, and thank you for watching. Now, Nuno Madueke, he came through the academies of Crystal Palace and Tottenham, and he started breaking into the PSV team 2019, I think, and eventually he moved to Chelsea in 2023 for about £30 million and a contract for 7.5 years. And personally for him, that's a great contract, 7.5 years. And he plays on the right wing, but in the last 10-20 games of this season for Chelsea, some of them he's played on the left, and he's actually looked maybe not as better as he did, but he did look pretty good on the left. And his best games on the right wing weren't as good as his best games on the left, but he's had much worse games on the right wing than he has on the left wing. So his position, it's not up to debate. He's kind of a right winger. You could really turn him into a left winger. Now, one of the main things about Madueke is his dribbling and his ball progressive carries. He leads the Premier League in the most dribbles made per 90. That's about 5.6, I think, per 90. And he's in the 96th percentile for ball progressives. So ball progressive means going from the halfway line to the 18-yard box. That's what I mean by progressive. And he actually leads that. So he's genuinely the type of guy who can actually kind of start an attack. And I feel like that may be what Arsenal is missing, because they do a lot of that tiki-taka stuff and they have Odegaard for that creativity. And yes, they have Saka. I feel like Madueke can really get the ball and get upfield and start the attack more quicker. And I'm saying this as a Chelsea fan, so if I have any bias, it may be noticeable. But let me know if it's too much bias, and I'll see if I can change it or not. His finishing, well, I mean more like shots made. He shoots quite a lot. As a Chelsea fan watching him play, he shoots quite a lot. You'll see them when eventually he plays for Arsenal, he shoots quite a lot. And then maybe what Arsenal may need, they may need someone who takes more shots. I haven't seen Arsenal play, but I feel like that's what they're missing. And you need someone who will take a lot of shots. But I talked about this later on, but he doesn't score much of them. But he does take quite a lot of shots. Now, his crossing is a bit of a debate. It's not the best, obviously, but it's not even the worst. And recently, it's actually got much better. And you've seen this in the games he's played in. He's actually got much better crossing. And I don't think Arsenal really need that, because they don't really have a striker that's great for heading. They really only have the centre-backs who are great at heading. The rest aren't that good. But he's great at crossing. Maybe that's an area where Arsenal could start not a new niche, but start a new way of scoring goals. And also they love set pieces, so Madueke could take some corners maybe if he starts practicing the corners. If he's good at crossing and he's improved this much recently, he could improve much more at crossing the ball. Now, Madueke, he combines pace, acceleration, and agility and quick feet, and that makes him really, really excellent and really excelled in coming inside and getting on one-on-one with the defenders and actually getting past the defenders. He's actually great at one-on-one dribbling, and he's a key reason why Madueke kept on playing under Maresca. Maresca got a bit of stick of was Madueke playing every single game, but generally Maresca stuck with him. And I'm not saying he did Ronaldo 07, 08 numbers, but he actually did really good under him. And it really shows that when he has a trusted manager, he can actually play quite well. And Maresca really likes those one-on-one plays, and Arteta probably does the same, because they both, being under the Guardiola, I don't know what you call it, but they've been under Guardiola, and he so is visionary. And they really love those one-on-one people who can be the defender. And Madueke is definitely one of them. He can definitely take on a defender. Watching Chelsea, and you'll see that Madueke always tries to be a defender, which is why Maresca kept playing. Now, the thing about Madueke is an underrated trait of his is really pressing quite hard, and I'll give some stats to back that up. He has the 84th in percentile in tackling upfield, and also 83rd percentile of winning aerial duels. And that makes him a great player for Arteta, because Arteta, he also from time to time loves those pressing styles, and I guess all managers do. And some phases he'll need those players to just press, and Madueke does that excellently. That's a really underrated trait he has, and he's probably done that under Maresca, but it's a really underrated trait he has. Now, Madueke, you might not know of, maybe this was in the past though, but he has had some injuries. Since his debut, he's missed about 50 games, but I don't think much of them were for Chelsea, but he has got injured. I'm not saying he's prone to get injured, but from time to time he could get injured, and maybe that's a risk that Arsenal may be willing to take. Now, this season he's played 32 games, and he scored 7 goals and made 3 assists. That's okay for a winger, but you're going to pay 40 million, and he is quite young. I think he's 21, maybe 22. You can really, once getting into his prime, if he's getting 10 goal contributions in 30 games, you could eventually make it to 20 goal contributions in 30 games. But I don't know if this is that good. It's his first real season, you could say, in the Premier League, playing week in, week out. So he's not done awfully. I'm not saying he's done awfully. He's done pretty good. But of those 7 goals, you've got to remember that he scored a hat-trick in one of them. So really, in 31 games, he scored 4 goals and got 3 assists. But the thing is, if he's got a hat-trick in one game, he has the ability to score a lot of goals in one game. Maybe that's something that Arsenal need. So I think some of the games they just win 1-0. And I feel that's what Maresca's done this season. He's not tried to push on from the 1-0. He's tried to hold on to win just by 1 goal. Maybe that's what Arteta might do. But if he needs to be, you could kind of have Madueke be the guy to start scoring 2-3 goals. And he has the potential to do so, because he's done it in one game. And if Arteta manages him right, he can make him kind of like Saka. And he can make him score 2-3 goals a game. I'm not saying he's going to do every game, but every once in a while he score 2 or 3 goals, and that could make Madueke really worth it if they can train him right. And he's really young, so he can actually learn quite a lot. Now, the big main con, the main against for him for Arsenal signing Madueke, is that his finishing and his decision making. His finishing is not woeful. And look, it's not the best. You can see him trying, but for the amount of shots he takes, he doesn't convert that much. And I guess as a winger, you don't really need to score that much, but he's really got to up his finishing. But obviously that will come with time, and I feel like in 2-3 seasons, if he just focuses on finishing, he could really up his game, and generally you could see him get 15 goals in the Premier League. Generally you could see him. He just needs to improve his finishing, and eventually he might get there. Now, his decision making. If you've seen a Chelsea match and you've actually looked at Madueke when he has the ball, the thing about Madueke, he's quite a selfish player. And sometimes that could be a positive thing. You'll be like, how's that a positive thing? Let's say you're a striker, you're one-on-one, there's also a player right next to you, and what you do is you just shoot and you score. That's a positive thing. The thing with Madueke is he could have a guy, he's kind of open, he could just lose the marker and he could pass to him, or at the same time he's one-on-one with the defender. He'll try instead beat the one-on-one defender and try and score. And sometimes it works, but most of the time, and I feel like majority of the time, it just doesn't work and he kind of wastes his chances. And sometimes he sees players in great spaces, but he doesn't pass to them, and he tries to shoot himself and he tries to score himself. And if Arteta could change him, then he'll be great. But I'm not blaming him entirely too much. I haven't seen him play before he was at Chelsea, but when he signed his 7.5-year contract, And how Chelsea works nowadays, the contracts they give, is they give a much lower weekly wage than other Premier League clubs would give to players, but they give high performative bonus wages. So they give high goal bonus, high assist bonus, and I feel what Madueke they've done with him is they give him a high goal bonus. So that's why you see him always trying to take more shots, try and score more. And I feel like that's the reason he's shot more than when he could have passed to a much better option. And so I'm not blaming him entirely, but even then, I still think he's kind of a selfish player. And he's played for England, though, I think. I'm not sure for the full team or for the under 23s, but I think he's played for the full team. So he's definitely good enough to play for England. And just the thing is that he's quite selfish, and also his decision making. He could make a better pass, but this decision making just lets him down. Now let's go for Chelsea. What would happen if Madueke left Chelsea? In my opinion, I'm a Chelsea fan. So if Madueke left, I wouldn't be too hurt. Obviously it's to Arsenal, it's a rival. I'm a bit not hurt, but a bit saddened that he went to a rival. But still, I wouldn't mind too much if he left, but I wouldn't mind if he stayed. It is what it is to him. If he stays, it'd be great. If he doesn't, if he leaves, I don't mind, to be honest. Because, no offense to him, I don't see him too much of a threat. Yes, 1-on-1 he's a threat. He's a great threat. But apart from that, finishing, he's not too good. So, unless he can get his output higher, then I could see him being a threat, and I might be a bit worried and be like, why did he leave? But currently, right now, I don't see him that much of a threat. And he currently plays on the right. He could play on the left. Let's start on the left side. On the left side, we're going to have Gittins now. And on the left side, I kind of blanked on all the wingers. But even then, he wouldn't be the starter on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, though, we have Neto. And we're going to have Estevao. And also Tyreek George. And the thing is, Neto is probably going to be the starter. And where would Madueke go? I feel like he might be above Estevao in the pecking order initially at first. But eventually Estevao will take over. That kid is absolutely brilliant. And so what will happen is Neto, he'd start, and Madueke will probably be on the bench. So even if he stayed, he'd probably be on the bench. He might be starting a few games here and there. There'll be a lot of rotation nowadays at Chelsea because of how much matches it is, because of how much competition it is, like the Champions League, the Premier League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and all the competitions basically. And he would get his fair share of playing time, but he wouldn't be starting, and he kind of block the way for Estevao to come forward. So I feel like if he left and we're left with Neto and Estevao just on the right hand side, I'll be totally fine with them. I'm not a manager though, so maybe you need more players to be in that position, but I'll be totally fine with them. And so I'm okay if he left, especially for I've heard 45 to 50 million. I feel that'd be pretty good. The one thing is, he's still young, he could still turn into a beast, but I don't know if he will turn into that beast. So, as a Chelsea fan, I'm okay if he left, to be honest. But if he stayed, I wouldn't mind as well. So, let's talk about Arsenal. How would Arsenal benefit, or would they not benefit? Well, I'm not too, shown all the Arsenal players. But there's Saka on the right side. And Madueke, I'm pretty sure he's only going to Arsenal if he's going to be a starter, or at least, be up there in the pecking order. And I don't know who else to have on the right hand side, but I don't think that he's going to be on the right hand side. He's not going to start with Saka, obviously. And on the left hand side, we have Martinelli and Trossard. Madueke, he's not better than them objectively, but he, in some areas, in some departments, he's actually better than those attackers. But in some areas as well, they're better than him. So it's genuinely up to Arteta who he wants to start. And I feel like Madueke probably will start on the left-hand side. And 45 million, you're getting a player who's played pretty much nearly all the games of the Premier League. And he's actually done pretty decent in the Premier League. There's much worse players you can buy for 45 million. And I feel like he's a decent player, he's a great dribbler. And if Arteta could actually turn him, and maybe he could learn off Bukayo Saka, and he could see how he plays and implement some of his parts of the game to his, he could really become a insane, no world class, but I feel like he could be really great. And he just needs to improve his finishing, which I'm sure Arteta will try and start doing with him. And he just needs to improve his decision making, and I feel like Arteta definitely could help him with that. And I feel like if he really starts developing much more, he'll definitely be a great fit for Arsenal, especially for like 40 to 45 million. You're getting at least a decent Premier League player. And so let me know what you guys think. Thank you for watching. Could you like, comment, share, subscribe? Thank you everyone for watching.